Today we're going to have a look at a safe street in Scarborough, and this is about 4 kilometres long. It almost goes down to the beach, and it's kind of impressive. Now, I blundered into this thing because I was visiting some friends, and I wasn't planning this at all. But let's just have a look at it from end to end, and I'll just have to talk my way through this. Sorry about that if I get a bit disjointed. It starts with quite a steep hill. This is a long drag, and I had to speed it up because you'd get very, very bored watching me slog up this street. Some features to look at. See over on the left and right how they've got red asphalt, and they've got a kind of ladder paint thing at the entrance of it. Here you can see they've put down a lot of concrete, building out the verges to narrow the road. They've put some big islands in, or blister curbs, or whatever you want to call them. And some of them are quite interesting in their design. Obviously, they've put in big spaces in them for landscaping, and as we'll see further up, a lot of these have trees. Why is this a safe street? Over on the left, that's a school and a church. So obviously, it's a good idea running this past a couple of schools. You can just see on the left there how they've built out the ramps. It's quite good. And what we see here again is a big blister island, at the corner, which is narrowing the street and providing vegetation. That was just showing how steep the gradients were. Now, this is one of the most interesting features, where they've put in what I call these tank traps, where they've essentially blocked off whole chunks of this street to through traffic. And I was so impressed with these, I took a photo, and if you drove a car into those rocks, you'd be in real trouble. Just compare those to the tank traps that Canada Bay Council builds, for cyclists to smash into. Here, it's the shoe's on the other foot. The emphasis is on making the streets safe for cyclists rather than dangerous, and keeping cars out, which is, just mind blown. Okay, here we have another one of these tank traps, and you can see what their intention is. They want to keep the through traffic out, the fast cars, so these streets are safe for children. These are 30-kilometre-hour streets. They go past schools. This is all residential areas. It just seems to make sense to do that. Again, as we go down here, you can see, just how many, how much concrete they've had to lay to build the road out to narrow it. It's been deliberately narrowed, so drivers approaching in opposite directions have to slow down in order to get past each other. Now, one thing I will say about, have a look at this. This design here, I think, is a thing of beauty. Look at the effort they've put in to get you safely across the road. And you can see this, big space here where a number of cyclists could stop. And they've put in a red path so you can see exactly where you need to go when you get across the other side. And wonder of wonders, look at this. They've even put in some, a pump, some bike tools, and some instructions on how to do, kind of basic repairs on the bike if you need that. Now, one complaint I did have with this safe street is they didn't resurface the everything in red asphalt. I'll just have a look at that island in the middle. Very low island. It was only a couple of centimetres high across it, made out of brick, obviously designed so that, that's a school on the right, by the way, obviously designed so that drivers can go around you across that island quite safely without ripping their sump off, but they're going to have to be going slowly in order to do so. Smart thinking. I just think, there's so much about this which is kind of clever. Now, I guess with budgets are not unlimited, it would have been quite expensive to have ripped up 4 kilometres of asphalt and resurfaced the whole thing in red asphalt. But it would have made it much easier to find the street and to follow it. Interestingly, there on that curb, they built that out as well, I guess, to stop people cutting the corner. That would be my only improvement. Now, these lights were an absolute debacle. I had to go over here and press the button to get the lights to change, and from here I really had no idea where to go. And this is a second complaint, but it's to do with the absolutely diabolical signposting in Perth. Up ahead somewhere is the freeway, and I know there's a bike path that runs along the freeway, and I just didn't know how to get to it. So I followed this courier, thinking he knows where to go, and ended up in this bus station, which is possibly the stupidest thing ever. But boy, these bus stations at the train stations are absolutely enormous. I mean, they take this kind of multimodal stuff seriously. And then then I was dumped out into this enormous commuter car park. I mean, this thing was huge, covered acres. You could probably see it from the surface of the moon. And finally, I popped out on the other side and thought, I recognise those buildings. I know where the bike track is, and I finally found it. But there must be an easier way to get to this shared path that runs down to the CBD than that absolute mess that I went through. So that's what I'll have to find next time I go out this way. But let's have a look at the shared path going in the opposite direction. This is when I blundered into it, not even knowing it was here. And I thought, this is interesting. Here I am on what is this? The fourth shared path, safe street that I've ventured into. And again, let's just have a look at the design elements as we roll down the hill. Laying lots of concrete to build out the curbs, putting in some landscaping with trees and shrubbery and all the rest of it, putting down red asphalt in strategic locations. So every intersection has red asphalt as you come into it, so drivers that are going to go across this safe street know it's a safe street. Big blue signs in the middle of the street saying it's a safe street. See the curb that's been built out on the left there to stop drivers banging around the corner. And what we're seeing here is 3 o'clock school pickup parking or standing. Almost all these cars here on the left are parents waiting to get around the corner to pick their kids up from a primary school. And we're actually going to just follow this, all the way to the school. Because the friends I was visiting live opposite the school, and they said their neighbours actually want to have this street closed off because they're so sick of this on a daily basis, twice a day. And they said most of these people live within walking distance of the school. They're just too damn lazy to walk there and pick their kids up. So I guess that's a universal problem. And the only way you really stamp it out, I guess, is actually by just blocking the street off and physically forcing people to get out of their cars and pick their kids up. So this is just like Pine Avenue with All Hallows, and every other school in Five Dock. Anyway, hopefully you got something out of it. There's another safe street. This is a good concept. Probably expensive, but it seems to work.